Next, we have two speakers from After 18 who are going to be introduced by Mel. So if we can hand over to you, please, Mel.
Sure, thank you, Sarah. Thanks to everyone who's spoken already. Very, very interesting talks. I volunteer for After 18, which is a charity for young refugees in Leicester. And in our group, we have been talking about climate change, and two of the young women have written accounts about their experiences in their countries of birth. And for confidentiality, they've chosen different names to use today. And the first person who's going to speak, and I'm just going to share a photo for her to give her a backdrop that she's chosen, is going to be Selma. And then when Selma's spoken, I will read out Leyla's account.
Thank you very much, Mel, for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight about my experience in my country of birth. So my name is Selma and I am from Afghanistan. In my country, there have been a lot of changes to the climate. When I was a child, there was a lot of snow in the winter. There was so much snow that we couldn't go to the mosque because it was closed and it was dangerous for us to go there. We used to have 4 seasons, which was winter, spring, fall, and summer. In the winter, there was lots of snow. In the summer, it was hot, but we had lots of rain. And in the fall, it was colder, but there was not any rain or snow. So when I was in year 6, we moved from the village to the city. So at that time, there was not so much change in the climate. So as we grew up, there was more change, and the winter was cold and dry with not much snow. In recent years, my friend in Afghanistan told me that they have water shortages now because there is not much snow. It does not melt into the ground. That means that there is less water underground for the wells. When I moved to the city, which was around 2008, it was unusual for people to have fan or own a fan, but in recent years, we need air conditioning to cope with the hot summers. The fields that used to grow the harvest have also dried out. That means that most people have had to leave the villages, but there is not enough because there wasn't enough harvest to make a living, and there are no other jobs in rural areas. I worry that in some years' time, everyone in the world will have to move from village to the city, and then where would the people stay, or where would we get food from? So we moved from the village not because of the climate change, but because there wasn't access to schooling for girls after year 6. But the climate change means everyone had to move. And I think it's very sad because you are born there, you grow up there, and you have a community, and your whole family is there. When everyone moves, they get separated and spread out. So the richer people move to the better cities, but if you're poor, you will go wherever you can find a job. That means that everyone, the families and the communities that used to live on the same land have been spread out, and they were far away from each other. So it's not just about the climate change, it's about the people and the culture where you live. So the culture in the village and cities are so different. And when you move from a village to a city, it means that you have to adapt to a new way of living. Climate change affects people's lives in so many different ways that, as I have heard before, and you don't even expect them. To add more, I worry about the wars in the Middle East, and I wonder about the effects of chemical weapons on the environment. So there is also other damages to the environment in my country, such as in winter, there is not much electricity for heaters, so people burn coals in such a big scale. So they also burn plastic to keep warm because most of the people in my country are not rich, they are poor. This could harm the environment by releasing more of those carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide gases. At the school in the winter, we used to wear masks because the air was so polluted as a result of burning coals. And my country is not rich, so most of the products that they are coming from China, uh, because they are cheap, they have a very low quality. That means that things don't last long and they need to be thrown away or replaced most often. So that's causing another problem, which is recycling those waste, and also uh, some of those thrown away items are banned, and that means that more of those gases are released to the environment. And in Afghanistan, I think there are ways that people are helping environment, such as not many people have their own cars. So most of the people, they use the public transport, and also people also started to use the solar panels, which is a source of renewable energy, but not many people have them. Uh, some people use them to heat water pipes for heating, and some use that for generating electricity as they need. So I think Afghanistan need to plant more trees, as in the cities you barely see any trees. So I think if they improve the green areas and more of those trees would be planted, we would have less air pollution. And I think that every action matters. If everyone thinks and acts responsibly, I'm sure we will see a big change in near future. If one person takes an action, it means that we will see a small effect. But if we think of it as a big scale, such as like billions of people uh, take the same action uh, for the climate, it means that we are going to see a huge effect. So I think we are very responsible for billions of people who will be born after us and would be living in this planet. So we should take action now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Selma. That was really beautifully spoken. Thank you very much. And I'm just going to talk now on behalf of Leyla, who's just going to have this as a backdrop. This is actually a green heart that Selma made, but I know that Leyla was hoping for a green heart in her background. So, Sarah, can you just give me a thumbs up that you can hear me? Great. So this is Leyla's account. My name is Leyla, and I'm from Vietnam. Compared to the UK, America and China, Vietnam's carbon footprint is low, but we experience lots of problems because of climate change. Since I was a child, the winter time has become a lot shorter. When I was 4 or 5 years old, it was always cold from October to the end of February. When I grew up, from secondary school age, the winter time became much shorter. In October, we can still wear short sleeves. Winter is much colder than before, but it has gone much quicker. The summer is longer and much hotter. Sometimes it reaches 40 degrees Celsius. You can cook an egg outside, it is so hot. People will cover themselves so they don't get burnt, then go outside under the sun with an egg in a pan. It takes about 10 minutes to fry the egg. Storms are also much stronger. It's hard to guess which direction the storm will travel, so it's hard to predict when one will hit. The typhoons used to come only in the summer, but now they happen even after the summer is over. The typhoons are very strong and they cause a lot of damage. They kill all the rice fields because the fields get flooded. In the floods, a lot of animals are killed as well. People's homes get flooded and the army have to come and rescue people from the roofs of their houses. The sea level is rising because of the polar ice caps melting. This means that every year land is lost, there's more flooding, and houses that are near the sea have to be moved. If people don't move, the house can break and injure or kill them. If you get caught outside in a storm, it's scary. One time I was outside when a typhoon came. To get home I needed to cross the river, but it had flooded. There was a bridge to cross, but I couldn't balance. The bridge kept moving in the wind, and I didn't know if I could make it to the other side. It's a scary feeling. Afterwards, we hear about people hurt or killed by falling trees or trees falling into people's houses. We feel lucky that we made it through. There's a long list of problems in my country because of climate change. For all the effects, there are things people do to avoid some of the problems. For example, in the summer there's less rain, so we save the rainwater by funneling the rain from the roofs into the well. Typhoons you can't stop, but to minimise the damage, we've got better at giving warnings. There's not much you can do about the flooding of the fields. The rice fields have standing water in them. So if you have a warning, you can take the water out first, but sometimes there's so much flooding that it makes no difference. In the typhoons, there are power cuts, so people prepare by keeping candles and batteries for the lights. They also save food because in the typhoon everything is closed. When I heard about storms in the UK, I was like, huh? What? Because it's just rain. It's not the same as the storms in my country. In the winter, animals need to be kept warm too. We don't use much heat, so we can save some heat for the animals. We also use straw to fill any cracks or gaps in the walls, so the wind doesn't come through. It stops the wind, but it doesn't stop the cold air from coming in. It saves some money on electricity. There's nothing we can do about the sea level, but we do try to do things that are better for the environment, like using cloth bags instead of plastic bags. They tried to improve public transport to attract more people to use it. We also use solar energy and wind power. In the summer, we don't need to boil the water, we just put it on the roof. It will keep warm until 11 p.m. at night, and it saves energy. Climate change is a big worry. It's something we need to take action on. People talk about it, but they don't do anything. Now it's our responsibility to change something, not just reading and talking and actually doing nothing.